Well, welcome back to another episode of Front Porch Friday. This one's a little different. I've heard a lot of people say, I don't understand that situation with Russia and Ukraine. It's happening on the other side of the world, doesn't affect me. I take that approach with a lot of things, especially when I'm way out here. And I get it. It can be complicated, but it's really not. So what I want to do today is try and explain this situation in a very simplified way that a lot of y'all will understand. Because probably all of us have experience in this with somebody in our lives in the past like this. So basically what it boils down to is years and years ago, Russia and Ukraine were a couple. Russia being the dude, Ukraine being the hot chick, and they were a couple. They were at all the clubs. They were the one the paparazzi wanted to take pictures of, and but secretly, behind the scenes, her friends were going like, "What is she doing with that dog? He is butt ugly." But Ukraine found him somewhat attractive, and for whatever reason, she was hanging out with him. Well, what a lot of us didn't see, like a lot of these relationships, is that behind the scenes, the crazy ex-boyfriend Russia was toxic. He treated her bad. He slapped her around. He told her who she could be friends with, who she couldn't be. Um, he was a jerk. We all know that one person or more in our circle of friends her that way. Okay, so finally, he had treated her bad enough, belittled her. She got tired of the beatings. She got tired of the being kicked to the curb and all that. About 1991, she said, "You know what, jerk? I've had enough of you. I'm leaving." Of course, he's like, "Well, you go ahead and leave me. I'm the best thing ever happened to you. You'll never find nobody as good as me." Well, she's like, okay. So, meanwhile, she starts working on her self-confidence. She starts getting a new group of friends, her like loaning her money, helping her get a place. Unfortunately, the place she got is right next to her crazy ex-boyfriend. Judge says, "Hey, you had this, he's got this big house, I have this little rent house. You can have this property here with a little rent house. Unfortunately, it's next to your crazy ex-boyfriend." She says, "Well, it's rent-free, I'll take it." But, meanwhile, her new friends were, hanging out with her. They was going to all the new clubs and France, Poland, Germany, U.S., and so she got a new circle of friends who bolstered her up and said, "Hey, you're cool, you're pretty. We always wondered why you was with this ugly jerk over here. And I don't know, I loved him at one time and all this." You know how it goes. If you watch Cops, you know how it goes. Basically, this is an episode of Cops. Okay? So, meanwhile, crazy toxic ex-boyfriend Russia can't find no one to go out with him. Everybody's like, "Dude, you are ugly. And you're a jerk. And no way we'd go out with you." And so he goes out, he's moping around. He's kicking stuff. He's kicking cars and out in the parking lot and stuff. And goes on to a few weeks ago, and he starts tearing down the privacy fence between his property and his ex-girlfriend's, Ukraine. Ukraine's friends are going like, "Girl, crazy ex-boyfriend's up to something. He's camping out on your property line now." "No, he's just that way. He's just a jerk. I don't really think he'd do anything." All our friends are going like, "No, he's definitely up to something." A little bit more time goes on. So he starts going around property line, pacing back and forth, just inside the property line, just outside, her property line, so they can't call the cops. They keep telling her, girl, crazy ex-boyfriend Russia is up to something. Well, he is acting more strange than normal, so maybe I'll put another lock on the front door and get another can of mace, a little keychain mace, maybe. Man, we think you need more than that. Well, meanwhile, before all this started, what started all this was that Ukraine started eyeing this new hunk. Well, he'd been around a while. He's kind of the older, established guy, and she's like, he's pretty hot. She started flirting with him. His name was NATO. And that's what really set crazy ex-boyfriend off, because up to that point, he thought she'd never find nobody else worthy, respectable. All of a sudden, he notices she's flirting with NATO, and oh no, I am not going to have her going out with this super hunk that everybody likes, especially right next to me. And that's what really sets crazy toxic ex-boyfriend Russia off, is that he really doesn't want her dating or even having anything to do with this hot hunk called NATO. So that's what starts the tearing down the privacy fence on the property line, playing his music loud at night, just being obnoxious. So one night, Ukraine sitting there watching TV, probably The Bachelorette or something. Crazy ex-boyfriend kicks in the front door. He breaks a lot of her crap. He trashes her house, violates her, beats her up really good, breaks a few bones, and says, "You're mine." Dragging her through the house by the hair of the head, saying, "You're mine. I told you you would be mine. You're not leaving me." Meanwhile, all Ukraine's friends go, "Girl, we told you. We told you, girl." And the hot older hunk, NATO, who everybody thought was really cool and tough, is standing back going, "Man, I'm glad I didn't get none of that. I don't want none of that. That crazy ex-boyfriend is way more than what I want to mess with." And so Ukraine's probably just kind of left out there. She's on her own now. What needs to happen is the hot older hunk NATO needs to get a pair of cojones and say, "Dude, back on your side of the property line, or we'll put you there. And when we do it, you're not going to like it." But he hadn't got the cojones to do that yet. Probably won't. Instead, he's sitting there going, "Hey, you don't leave her alone, we're going to call the cops. Hey, we're going to cut off your credit cards. We're going to make it where you can't get no gas." And he's going, whatever. It's kind of the situation. The only thing is, there are no cops to call, okay? That's the problem. So that's pretty much the Russia-Ukraine situation in a nutshell. Just remember, it's just an episode of Cops. Big house, rich guy, probably why Ukraine was first interested in, but they have to live next to each other, and Mr. Toxic Boyfriend Russia just can't stand to see hot girlfriend Ukraine in bed with the NATO dude. And so he's going to kick and scream and puff out his chest and everything else. And basically, he's a bully, and he needs to be treated like a bully. And the best way to treat a bully is pop him right in the face. Because you do that a couple times, and when you make it hurt him, just like any other bully, you make it hurt them, they leave you alone and they go someplace else. So, till that happens, as long as he keeps, again, it's like any other person you know has been in a relationship like this, as long as he keeps getting his way, he's going to keep doing this. And meanwhile, on the other side of town, there's this old Asian dude sitting there watching the evening news. His name's China. He's watching to see what NATO's Uncle Sam's going to do, because he's got an old girlfriend too he'd like to slap around and bring back in his house. Her name's Taiwan. So he's sitting there watching all this going on, see what Uncle Sam is going to do, because he's had plans for years to get her back. So now you know the whole Russian-Ukraine thing. That's how it went down. Fortunately, at least as of right now, Ukraine's still having the self-confidence. She's fighting back, and everybody's going like, "Ooh, look at that girl fight!" Oh, let's stay out of it though. She's fighting them, but let's stay out of it. So kudos to Ukraine, but she ain't gonna be able to hold out. I mean, it'd be like a 125-pound woman going up against a 6'4", 300-pound butt ugly dude. There you go. So I don't know, who knows what the situation will be by the time you read this. And I've got you up here on the porch because it was supposed to rain. Now it's clearing off. It was sprinkling earlier. Now it's clearing off. The wind's howling. Anyway, thank y'all for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Am I off base? Did I have it pegged right? I think I got it pegged right. Y'all let me know how you see it. Appreciate you, and we'll catch you on the next one.